Hello, I have my marker today. I don't have to go looking for it, so I came prepared. I hope things are going well for you. Today we're going to do the area model of division again, but this time it's going to be with three-digit numbers. Now, three-digit numbers, well, let me show you. I'll just show you what I mean. But sometimes there's a slightly different rules you can play by. Like yesterday, I said I would always pick a multiple of 10 whenever I could. And so today we're gonna be picking multiples of 100, but sometimes it doesn't quite work out, and I'll show you those examples. But let's just start. Um, let's just start with a couple examples real quick. Hold on one second. All right. Sorry, I had problems written down. I had to go grab off of my desk. So, and once you know it, I left my marker. Let's see if this one works. Hey, that one works. Great. All right, so let's start off with an easy one. Let's say that we're doing 351 divided by 3. Actually, let's save that one for next. Let's do 864 divide by 8. So what I'm going to do, I'm always going to start by drawing two boxes. But when you're dealing with hundreds, sometimes you have to add on a third box, which is just fine. I'm just going to start with two boxes though. So I'm going to put my 8 out here to the side. Now, just like yesterday, I always ask myself if I could do the multiple of 10 in order to break that number down. Today I'm going to do the same thing, but instead of 10, I'm going to go straight to 100. So can I use 8 times 100 to break down this 864? I can. I'm going to put in here 800 because 800 is 100 multiples of 8. If any place here where I can deal with 8 times 10 or 8 times 100 to help me get my division answer, I will always do that. I guess you could do it 800 divided by 100 or 800 divided by 10. But anyway, so 8 goes into 800 100 times. Now I'm breaking up. I've done 800. I need to find 800 plus what number equals 864. And it is 64. So in here I'm going to put 64, and then 8 goes into 64 8 times. So these are partial quotients. I have to add those two together to equal 108. So 864 divided by 8 is 108. And again, I did that because I said, oh, I can take this 864. I know I can take 800s out of it, and that's easy to divide by 8. 800 divided by 8 is 100, which only leaves me with 64 left. So then 64 divided by 8 equals 8. Let's try another one. Let's do 742 divided by 7. I'm going to start by drawing my two boxes. I'm going to put a 7 out here. Now, if I can do 7 times 10 or 7 times 100, I'm going to use those ones first. So can I do 7 times 100 and have it be less than 742? I can, and it has to be less so we can break down that 742 into smaller facts. So that means in this box, I'm going to put 700. 7 goes into 700 100 times. So that leaves me in this box to have 42 left. Because remember, these two boxes here have to equal that other box. So 7 goes into 42 6 times. So then 100 plus 6 equals 106. So 742 divided by 7 equals 106. And again, I started with 700 because I want to use those multiples of 10s and 100s as much as I can today. If I can use those multiples, it makes my whole life just a lot easier. Let's try another one. Now this is one where we're going to have to add a third box. Let me show you why. So let's do 351 divided by 3. So I'm going to start with two boxes. Let me draw that again. I always It's just easier to start with 2 boxes, and then you can add the third one on if you need it. So remember, 3, can I use the multiple of 3 times 10 or 3 times 100 to help me break down this number? I can. I can use 300 because 300 is a multiple of 3. In fact, it is 100 multiples of 3. So that would mean in this number, I would put 51, but 51 is not a basic fact. So, I mean, you could do it and figure out 3 goes into 51 how many times, but what I'm going to ask is, can I break that 51 down even more to help me get my answer? Now remember, I said I'm always going to use multiples of tens and hundreds whenever I can. So obviously 300, I can't use my multiple of 100, but can I use my multiple of 10? Yes, I can. So now I'm going to break 51 down into 30, right? 3 times 10. So now I have 300 plus 30 plus a number equals 351. So in this box, I put my 30. Because what I did is I said, oh, okay, with that 51 that's remaining, I can take 30 out because that's an easy multiple of 10. So 3 goes into 30 10 times. I have to add on my last box here because I have 300 plus 30 plus a number equals 351. And that would be 21. So this number here is going to be 21. 3 goes into 21 7 times. So let's check. Does 300 plus 30 plus 21 equal 351? Yeah, it does. So that means 100 plus 10 plus 7 equals 117. I know it's a little bit mind-bending to kind of go back to the fall and relearn some of this. And I know for the parents out there watching this that they are going, what the heck is going on? But let's think about this for a minute, okay? There is the regular algorithm that we learn to do. And we'll get to that. But when you think about this method, it's a little clunky at first because there's a lot of steps that you're doing. But think about it. You only have to divide by hundreds and tens the whole way. And then you have one last one that's not a multiple of 10 or a multiple of 100. And that's the whole algorithm, is you're just dividing by hundreds and tens, and then you have one last one to do it. So it can be a really efficient way of doing it because we know our hundreds and our tens really, really well. So let me show you another one. Let's do a smaller number. This one only has 2 boxes. Let's do 108 divide by 6. Okay, so this one I'm going to draw my 2 boxes again. I'm always just going to start with 2 boxes, and I'm going to put 6 here. Now I'll always ask myself when there's a 3-digit number, can I use my multiples of tens or hundreds to help me? So 100 multiples of 6 would be 600. That's way too big for 108. But I can use my multiple of 10, which would be 60. So 6 goes into 60 10 times, and I have 60 plus a number equals 108. Let's see, that would be 48. And if you didn't know it, you could divide it out. 6 goes into 48 8 times, and 10 plus 8 equals 18. So 108 divided by 6 equals 18. Okay. Again, you have to make sure that these 2 add up to equal your answer, and that those 2 add together to get your answer as well. Alrighty, let's try 496 divide by 4. Okay, now this one I'm always going to start with my 2 boxes. So I draw my 2 boxes and I divide by 4. And then I ask myself, are there any, can I use tens and hundreds? Can I use any multiples of tens and hundreds in order to help me break this number down? So can I use I'm going to use 40, and I'm going to use 400 wherever I can. Can I use 400 to break down 496? Yeah, you bet I can. So that's going to be 400. 400, 4 goes into 400 100 times. So that means I have to do 400 plus a number is going to equal 496. And so that number would be, I mean, obviously we could put 96 in there, and if you can do the mental math for that, great. But most people are going to want to break down 96 even more than that to get to 496. So I'm going to ask myself, I'm trying to remember 96, remember. Can I use my multiples of tens or hundreds to help me get close to this answer? So can I use 40 or 400? And in this case, yeah, I can use 40. So 4 goes into 40 10 times. So I'm going to do 400 plus 40, but I'm not quite to 496. For those of you keeping track, I had 496. We took care of 400, which left 96. Now we just took care of 40, so we have 56 left. Can I use another group of 40 to get towards that 56? I can. That's going to be my next step, is that you take away groups of 10 until you get to that final answer. So in this case, I'm going to do 40 more, which would be another 10. So if I subtract 40 from that final number, I get 16. So in other words, we broke 496 down into 400 plus 40 plus 40 plus 16. So this one actually needs a fourth box. 4 goes into 16 4 times. So to do 496 divided by 4, I'd do 100 plus 10 plus 10 plus 4, which equals 124. Now this one where we had to do 4 boxes, that might not be the most efficient way. Again, my goal is just to have you be familiar with different ways of doing math, being very fluid and flexible with how you see those numbers in order to be able to use the best strategy for any given problem. Yeah, so that's an answer, 124. Let's do one more where there's just 3 boxes. All right, let's do, I didn't have another one written down. Let's do 585 divide by 5. So I'm going to start with just 2 boxes. I'm going to put my 5 out here to the side. And I'm going to ask myself, can I use multiples of tens or hundreds to get to 585? Can I use 50 or 500? And in this case, yeah, I can use 500 because 5 goes into 500 100 times. So what's left is I now have 85 to get to 585. So that means what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another 50. I'm going to do another 50 because that's going to help me get to that 85. 85 divided by 5 is not a basic fact. So I want to work with basic facts whenever I can, and I want to make sure those basic facts are multiples of 10 or 100 whenever I can. So I'm going to put 50 more in there. So 5 goes into 50 10 times. Now I still have numbers unaccounted for because I've only done 500 plus 50, and I'm trying to get to 585. So I'm going to add on a third box, and I'm going to say, how much do I have left over right now? How much do I have left that I still need to account for? 500 plus 50 plus what number equals 585 is basically what I'm doing. Or you could subtract those out each time, whichever way works for you. But that would be 35. So I'm going to put 35 in there. So 5 goes into 35 7 times. These 3 add up to equal 585, so I'm going to add 100 plus 10 plus 7, and that equals 117 is your answer there. So see, with this one, the only division I had to do that wasn't 10 or 100 was the 35 divided by 7. So it uses a lot of basic facts. Okay, one more. I just really want to make sure that I'm not bending anyone's brains too much. Let's do let's do 690 divided by 6. So I'm going to draw my two boxes, divide by 6. I'm going to always use multiples of 110 whenever I can. So in this first box, I'll put 600 because that's less than 690. So 6 goes into 600 100 times. And maybe I'll do the subtraction way for those of you that want to see how that works. So that would be 690. And I'm going to subtract 600, which means I have 90 left. Now, some of you might already know 90 divided by 6, but most of us were going to have to break that number down. So I'll ask myself again, can I use multiples of 10 or 100 to help me with that? Well, I can't use a multiple of 100 because 600 is much bigger than 90, but I can use a multiple of 10. So I can put 60 in there. 6 divided by 60, or 60 divided by 6 equals 10. So I'm going to subtract 60 on this one too to see how much left I have to account for. So I'm going to do one more box. Is 30 divided by 6 a basic fact? Yeah. So once you get to a basic fact, you can just put that basic fact in there. 6 divided by 30 equals 5. Now let's check. Do 600 plus 60 plus 30 equal up to 690? Yes. And all of those are evenly divisible by 6? Yes. So that means I just have to add those together to get my final answer, which would be 115. So thank you so much for watching, and good luck with the math task today.